YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back after Saturday and Sunday's action of Week 16 in the NFL. Here to give you my takeaways for these games. We're going to get to the point, a lot of these games. Don't feel like doing an hour-long video that we've been doing for 16 straight weeks. Kind of in playoff mode now. And there was some games, more games I focused on compared to others this week. But yeah, I'll have my takeaways here like we usually do. Weekly picks, score predictions, more. Join us for that. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on, follow our Twitter. A lot of these points that we're already on our Twitter during these games. It was a Monday night game tonight. Ian Book versus the Dolphins. Actually excited about that one. So we'll be talking throughout that game on Twitter. Check it out. So Saturday games real quick, Browns and Packers. Man, the Browns had a shot in this game. They had a shot in this game, and a lot of people blaming Stefanski. A lot of people blaming the refs. A lot of people blaming Baker. A little bit of all of the above. Yeah, the officiating wasn't good, but I look at this, and bottom line is the Browns had a winnable game. And, man, they went away from Browns football too easy. Like, they would early, they would get a slip screen to Nick Chubb. He would get out, get a big gain. And they would have good gains like that to Nick Chubb or with the back, even Dearness Johnson, and they would go back to the passing game. Interception. All right, they would get the ball back, and then a big run. Nick Chubb, outside zone run. Gets in space, gets going. All right, let's put the ball in Baker's hands. Throw an interception, and then he kind of kept going on. The running game or just small ball game in space was working, but you fast forward to the end. Why was Nick Chubb on the sideline? Why did they feel like they had to panic and throw the ball at the end? Another interception. So, yeah, a lot of blame to Stefanski there, kind of going away from not only his game, Browns game, the Browns football, type of football, but kind of going away from what's working. It's almost felt like he had something decided in his head before the game, and he stuck to it. Just no situational football here. Lack of situational football, and that's kind of the storyline for a lot of these coaches, too, that are struggling. But I will say, and then Baker, some of these interceptions, the receivers that, didn't fight for the ball fully, maybe one or two of them, not the best routes. And there was some contact as well, but Baker doesn't need to throw the ball. The other team here is a big problem. At some point, the kind of Stefanski's defense, even though I'm not defending him fully on this game, I put the blame on him a lot mainly here. But you're going to need to throw the ball to win at some point. You can't just, if there was a scenario where, okay, the run's working, so there's teams that do that. So you only run. You start just getting, it's not really conservative, but it's just getting predictable, And then everyone blames that guy for, you got to pass the ball. How are you starting to get predictable? You can't get too obvious. So that's kind of on Stefanski's side, his defense a little bit. You're going to have to throw the ball, to win at some point. And, if you're running and it's working, then you want to have the quarterback throw once and he's going to go and throw a pick. That's a bad look for Baker. That's a real bad look. And it kind of looks like in a game like that, it looks like this is not the guy. We're about to give this guy an extension. It's not the guy. It's one game, but it feels like more than that. And that one interception where he, just put his whole body into it, took his head out of it, just a complete overthrow. That's just like something we never should see from a single NFL quarterback ever. So a pretty rough game from the Browns. They could have won the game. That's the biggest part there. So kind of good and bad for the Packers. They didn't really play that well here, and they still won. Like the Browns could have won that game with all those turnovers, those interceptions. That's kind of the bad for the Packers. The Packers, still pull it off though. I thought they were off their game, and that's kind of the good thing. They're off their game. Not a good thing that they're off their game, but they still win the game because they had all their touchdowns came off of interceptions, and so they basically needed that, and credit their defense to creating those turnovers, getting those interceptions, even though Baker kind of helped them out a little bit there. They couldn't really stop the run. They couldn't stop Chubb or Dearness Johnson in space. Again, the offense wasn't really moving the ball that well. It kind of needed a great field position, but they still find a way to pull it off there in the end. That's all that matters at this time of the year, so they continue to roll. It's tough for the Browns. The other Saturday game, Christmas game here, the Colts pull it off, right before we learned that they're going to be missing 4 starting offensive linemen. And within this game, they went down to a third-string guard at some point. Right before the game, we learned that Darius Leonard's going to be out, Corey Willis is going to be out. We knew Sendeo was out, so that means, remember Julian Blackman's been out. He was a starter, so basically Sendejo's their second choice. So in one safety, they're down to their third choice, and one they're down to their second. And then no Darius Leonard, who's a star linebacker, maybe the best linebacker in football, just a playmaker, helped the Colts win games. They're without him, so you feel like the Colts' chances are very thin at this point. Maybe they still find a way to pull it off. So the next man up, always solid for the Colts. They have multiple different ways they can win. Defense played great football. They kept everything in front. They had somebody kind of always outside, keeping an eye on Kyler Murray for the most part. Murray got loose for a run early, second drive, I believe that was huge for them. But man, it's in credit to the Colts. Carson Wentz, wanting more from him most of this game, but that last touchdown drive, gets out in space, rolls out, makes a throw on a run, finds the open guy. Credit to the offensive line, depth offensive line there too. So I guess Wentz made the clutch plays when he needed to. Jonathan Taylor made the clutch runs when he needed to. Backup guys made clutch plays when they needed to. Or clutch blocks, I should say. And the defense, so credit to the Colts. I like the Colts a lot. Been hyping them up for some weeks. It just feels like a really great atmosphere there. But man, a lot of this to me is just the Cardinals just not executing. Just not executing. The last couple weeks, it's the same thing as at the end of last year. I'm gonna rip Kingsbury for deciding to kick the field goal on 3rd and goal. I mean, why not run one more play is very confusing to me. I understand when teams do that, they want to save time. They're like, all right, we're gonna have to drive down there. We're in field goal range. We're going to have to drive down there, waste a lot more time, and maybe score. But they were in a position to actually score. Why not run one more play? So that was just stupidity. But other than that, I am not going to blame Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, the system is his. It's his system, and the guys just have to go in there and execute. It's a tough system to stop. Teams start the game plan for it, though, and it's where the players are going to have to play even better here. They're not really doing that. But they came out this game. The Colts got a lot of backups in there. They're probably worried. What they're worried about most is Kyler Murray scrambling and throwing the ball downfield. It's what they do. It's Cardinals offense, and the Colts are saying we're without our biggest playmaker, Darius Leonard. We're without our two starting safeties. We're even missing Sendejo, who is, not really our first choice coming in the year, and he's been playing fine. But in their minds, they got to be worried about Kyler scrambling, Kyler airing it out. And then the Cardinals come out, and they're pounding the football with Chase Edmonds. They're getting them the ball in space. Maybe 4 out of the first, maybe more than that. 5 out of the first 6 plays, 4 out of the first 5. It's working. It's got the Colts kind of guessing a little bit. And you start to throw, you're getting Ertz the ball in space. And they kind of shut down at one point on that first drive I'm talking about. It's just kind of the lack of execution. Missed throws. Murray going straight to the sideline instead of running up. The next drive he ran kind of cut inside a little bit before going outside. He got it. He almost got a touchdown. He had a big gain. And then Kirk dropping a big time ball on 3rd down and then missing the field goal. It's just a lack of execution. I thought that script was great. I thought the idea, the game planning was great there. Colts go down there, get some points. Cardinals get the ball back. And they just score with ease. I love the play calling again. They run a speed option at one point, just throwing the Colts off. They run a slip screen, and they run Kyler Murray. He hits the inside before going out. He's a very tough guy to chase down, and they end up scoring. And they continue this type of play calling, I think. Maybe they could have went back to that option, that speed option, but they continue the solid play calling. It's the lack of execution. Receivers. We had a couple drops this one. Murray had some beautiful plays. He had a touchdown to Wesley. That was a perfect ball, but a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of missed throws. And you start to realize, because Kyler Murray has all these ridiculous plays where he's escaping pressure, kind of going backwards. Just stuff that people can't, and making the downfield throw after doing it. And it's amazing. It is amazing. Nobody can really do that. Like, how is he doing that? But then you start to look at, maybe you start to know it now and notice it now in crunch time more. It's a lot of times where he makes it harder on himself. The pressure's coming. What he should do is step up. He has the quickness, step up past the pressure, and then make that throw that he has the arm talent to make. Instead, he wants to turn his body to everyone, and he's going to escape. He escapes. And there was a crucial one on 3rd down later in the game when they were still in it. And he avoided the pressure and then missed the wide open Zach Ertz. And you may say, well, it was a tough one because he was scrambling. He just spun, turned around, avoided the pressure. And that's accurate. I still expect him to make the throw. But even though that's accurate, what he should have done there was step up past the pressure instead of making things hard and then just a simple throw to Zach Ertz. So I think we got to start realizing that. Like, he's making these wild plays, but he's not really – is he doing what he should be doing? Sometimes he just has to do whatever he can do to escape the pressure. So I have not been thrilled with Kyler Murray recently. He'll make a beautiful play here and there. We jump out of our seats about it because it's something. We don't see it a lot, but he's got to play a lot better. Kicking was bad. Officiating wasn't great. This one, a lot of people are blaming that, but they got to go out and execute. I think the system's there. Colts are missing a lot of guys defensively. I thought that was more important, bigger for the Cardinals than who the Colts are missing offensively. Cardinals just got to score more points. I just don't know how they just can't go out there and finish the job. They're definitely missing DeAndre Hopkins. A lot of teams missing a lot of guys. It's just there's an execution problem. There definitely is. I have no problem with the system. I have no problem with the play calling at all. Again, after the fact, maybe they should have went for it on fourth down a couple times, but that's just because Prater was missing kicks. You would usually trust, I would trust Prater, so I don't know. That's a tough one for them. They're getting cold at the wrong time. The Colts hot at the right time. Cardinals cold at the wrong time. Not good. Definitely not good against the Cowboys this week. Lions and Falcons. Lions had a shot to win this game. And I kind of thinking, because they ended that game in the red zone, a very bad interception by Tim Boyle, who played decent before that interception. And just kind of thinking if Goff was playing in this game, if Goff was in this game, they might have won. But then thinking, I kind of felt like the Falcons kind of laid off the gas a little bit because they knew Goff was out. I think they thought they were just going to win, being conservative, and they weren't really that conservative. They were taking shots to Pitts, but it felt like that. There wasn't a lot of urgency because, hey, we're playing Boyle. We don't want to – and it just shows a lack of trust. And the Falcons are trying to fight to get in the playoffs too. What happens if you make the playoffs? It kind of felt like a lack of trust here. Like we might turn the ball over. Matt Ryan might get sacked a bunch. He might throw a pick. You see Gage fumble at the end. That tends to happen a lot at the end here. So I felt like that their game plan was they would just kind of take it easy, take it conservative so we don't turn the ball over a lot because we're just going to beat Boyle either way. They were right in the end, but I don't like it. I don't like it because you're fighting to get in the playoffs. Obviously, you want to get in the playoffs, and that's just not a good mentality to have. I could be wrong. Maybe that wasn't it. Maybe they just struggled a bit. I was shocked at the lack of Russell Gage in this game. They got Pitts gone. I like that deep down the sideline, that big play. I like to see that. Want to see more of that. Cordero couldn't get much going. He did score his nice touchdown, but they just couldn't really get much going in this game. I'm really surprised at the lack of Russell Gage, and he fumbled at the end there. Lions, they put up a fight with a lot of these teams, even games they lose. If they had Goff, they very well could have won this game. That's really all I have for this one. The Falcons, they're going to fight to get in the playoffs. I don't feel like they're a playoff team. I think there's going to be multiple teams in the playoffs that don't feel like a playoff team. I think some of those teams, their season's going to feel like they were deserving, of course, but they're at this time, playoff time, do they feel like a playoff team? I don't think the Falcons will make it, but if they do, it's not going to feel like one of those. Ravens, Bengals, Joey B lit it up here. Over 500 yards passing, some escaping pressure, escaping sacks, throwing awkwardly because he has to, and making these big-time plays. T. Higgins showing that he wasn't drafted as high as he should have been. That contested catch over two guys. Just a big game, but you have 190-something yards receiving. Jamar Chase racked it up. Boyd racked it up. It was just a good day. It was a good day for the Bengals, and it just showcases what they have now and what they have for the future. It really looks good for the Bengals here. And the Ravens are depleted. But that type of defense, man coverage, blitz, Joey B is going to make you pay. He's going to make you pay for doing that to him. So offensive line played a pretty good game too, even though there was times where, again, Burrow was getting hit. He had to escape it, but there was a lot of times where he had time and he had those paths to maneuver. Defensively, they did their job, I suppose. Josh Johnson threw for a lot of yards there. Again, they're down to their third quarterback, so it's kind of tough to have a take on that for the Ravens. But impressed with Burrow, very much impressed with T. Higgins for sure. Really good game for them. They like this type of matchup against the Ravens, that style matchup. A lot of man cover, some cover zero, some blitz. Hey, the Chiefs run that. The Chiefs run a lot of that when they're starting to heat up in the second half of the year. They're going to play the Chiefs next week. It's definitely a different animal. You don't have to play a bunch of backups in that one. But, Joey Burrow definitely can make it happen in that one as well. That's going to be a great game. It's just the Bengals, kind of the storyline of this year is like, yeah, they have this talent. They're very, very capable of doing this. But they kind of go cold, a little bit. They're a little inconsistent. They'll have a game or two stretch where Where'd the good Bengals go? The scary Bengals, Could that pop up in a good game against a good team in the Chiefs? We'll see. Could they be heating up at the right time? I mean, their talented players are playing very well at the right time, so it's possible. It's a big game against the Chiefs this week. The Bengals are a team I'm excited about this year, but going forward as well. Them kind of having those hiccups, being inconsistent sometimes, it kind of makes sense. They're still pretty young, but you wish they wouldn't do it. It's a tough go for the Ravens with the injuries. Really all there is there. Rams, Vikings is pretty straightforward here. Stafford had a sloppy game. He threw 3 interceptions, but it didn't really matter. The Vikings offense really couldn't execute. They couldn't execute in the red zone. Credit to the Rams defense, especially in the red zone, making plays. The Vikings still play well. Mike Zimmer and his defense still plays pretty well against Stafford. But they couldn't pull it off. It's a game really you should pull off, but when you're unable to score inside the 5-yard line a couple times, I want to say the 4-yard line, and needing an interception at the 2-yard line to be able to score, and you allow a punt return touchdown, when all that happens, you're definitely not deserving of winning the game. So it's just, and you could say, Stafford, the way he played, maybe they weren't deserving, but I think the rest of the team picked them up, and that's a really good sign for the Rams. That's a really good sign for the Rams. Early in this game, I was really hyped. I was hyping them very early in this game because we know what their offense is capable of, and their defense all of a sudden, because the Vikings offense statistically is very, very good. They had their cold weeks. I think this is one of them. They got going late a little bit, but way too late. And the Rams, I felt like, were kind of safe. But early in this game, we know what the Rams offense is capable of, and the defense is kind of just shutting them down. Shutting them down, taking the ball away. Just making them go 3 and out a bit. I'm like, this is the right time for the Rams to start to heat up. Their offense is scary. Now all of a sudden their defense is pretty scary. And I still view that, but then Stafford kind of being inconsistent, turning the ball over, being sloppy, it scares me a little bit at the same time. You kind of can argue both sides there, because in the playoffs, which the Rams are definitely a playoff team, obviously, it's about being consistent back to back against the best teams that know how to game plan, the coaches that know how to game plan. So if Stafford has that 3 interception game one time in the playoffs, I don't think they're going to win that game unless they're playing the Vikings or something like that, which is possible maybe in the first round. We'll see. So maybe in the first round they can get away with that. I just don't think that'll be the time where Stafford kind of has that. He might not have it at all, But the good news is they're looking like they can play some defense now as well. Credit to Raheem Morris, almost said Mostert, Raheem Morris. In this one, there was, I think he coached very well in this game. He predicted well in this game. He was guessing a lot of Vikings plays. They are known as maybe one of the more predictable offenses, but there was a point. It was where they got that interception in the end zone. There was a point where, right before then, the Vikings just got down there no problem. This was kind of early in the game. Got down there no problem. All right, here comes the Vikings offense. This is the good Vikings offense, right? First down. And they call a timeout. Raheem Morris calls a timeout here, wants to discuss things. And they go back on the field, and he has Leonard Floyd. And it could have been Leonard Floyd that guessed it. Me watching that, I didn't think so. They had Leonard Floyd right before the snap slide over right in a specific gap, and that's exactly where they ran the ball. The next play, they had guys fill a gap where exactly where the Vikings ran the ball. So third down, not that close to go to get to in the end zone, even though it was in goal, third and goal. Everybody, people that don't even watch football know it's a pass, and they create a play. So credit to Morris there. I thought he did a good job predicting, which it's all about when you're a defensive coordinator, just making educated guesses. So I thought that was fantastic. So good signs for the Rams defense. Stafford's got to take a little better care of the ball. Vikings are too inconsistent. I thought allowing that punt return was pretty rough. It was rough not having Dalvin, of course, in that one, but it is what it is there. Bills, Patriots, kind of a question. Are the Bills heating up at that right time? It kind of looks like it after this game. They need that statement win. They had a statement win against the Chiefs earlier. Chiefs were struggling in that game. Still consider a statement win, I suppose. They needed one here, and they got that. And it was a good one. It was a good one. 33 points on the Patriots. Could the Bills? That's still a question because it's kind of one game. They were still a little sloppy early in the Panthers game last week. But could the Bills be heating up? Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, play calling. They ran the ball a little more. Offensive line's been a problem. they protected pretty damn well in some good moments in this game, I thought. Some crucial moments. I thought Josh Allen had all day a lot of these times. So could it just be something in Buffalo? It clicks in the right time. We'll see. We'll see going forward here, but it looks good. Josh Allen played a hell of a game, throwing on the run. He had a fourth down run late. They had a couple Patriots had an opportunity to get him, jukes him out. Tough kid. To Josh Allen, I suppose if you're a Patriots fan, maybe rivals, you don't like him too much, but I feel like it's hard not to like Josh Allen. Just definitely could respect his game and the toughness there, and just wanting to go out there and win, do everything it takes to win. And there's a lot of guys like that, but I don't know. I like Josh Allen. Big game for him, big game for Diggs. And those guys, Isaiah McKenzie stepped up pretty big there. They ran the ball. They didn't run the ball tremendously well, but in the red zone, near the goal line, I thought Singletary's breaking tackles, running pretty tough. Moss had a pretty good run. He slipped up on. He probably should have scored a touchdown, but really you just have to have that presence, and it kind of opens things up. Having that presence there, that running presence, is a little bit of it at least, and that really opens things up for Josh Allen, the offensive line, because it's hard to block when teams are just pass rushing on every play because they know it's a pass. It's hard to play quarterback. It's harder to play quarterback when defense knows you're passing. So that was kind of a problem before. You kind of just had to run just to keep them guessing a little bit. So that's good. It's all good for the Bills. They're a big time game. I'm scoring 33 on the Patriots, but the Patriots feel like they're going cold at the wrong time here. Pretty hyped on them at one point, and still a very good football team. I was calling them the best defensive football for most this year. Is that going away? It was pretty sloppy in this game. They had opportunities. They missed them. There was times where they just couldn't get off their blocks. They couldn't get pressure. It's just surprising, very surprising. J.C. Jackson late in the game had a couple opportunities to change the game, and the Patriots could have won the game, believe it or not, by the score. They could have won the game if the plays were made here, even though the Bills were deserving of winning. They outplayed them, but J.C. Jackson dropped an interception. And then he missed Josh Allen on that fourth down. He's the plays you expect him to make. So maybe just an off day for the Patriots, off day for Mac Jones, off day for the defense. Damian Harris ran pretty well. That's good to see. But most of the season, we're through, we'll say 14, 15 weeks, and it felt like, and that's a lot. It felt like the Patriots, it was their division, the AFC East, and they were better than the Bills. They felt better than the Bills, but it just takes this. It just takes this moment for just to completely flip, and it feels like it's playoff atmosphere, and it feels like the Bills are just a much better team than the Patriots. All it takes is that. So it's a good time for the Bills. It's a bad time for that to show up for the Patriots, and Patriots just couldn't execute. The Bills just kept extending drives, extending points, therefore. So this is a huge game for the Bills. There, and again, the question is, are they heating up at the right time? Are the Patriots getting cold at the wrong time? That's just the question for all these teams this time of the year. Jags, Jets, oh man, I don't even know what to say with this one. I just want to talk about the ending, but it was tough. That I predicted the Jags, unfortunately, in this one. But a big reason, if you remember, I predicted them is James Robinson. The Jets can't stop the run. James Robinson's a very good running back. I think he's going to run wild on them. He tears his Achilles very early in this game. So that was tough. It's an assumption, definitely an assumption. But I would like to think James Robinson helps the Jags win this game if he doesn't get hurt. But that's just how it goes. Zach Wilson had an incredible run, and there was terrible effort on that run. Just as bad as it gets from the Jaguars defense. Hell of a play from Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson didn't throw the ball a lot. I thought he was pretty efficient, though. I thought he was pretty accurate. The big problem earlier in the year was he was just missing layup throws. Like, he can make that wild play, but he was just missing layup throws that, it's almost like you can tweak interceptions, take interceptions away, but can you improve missing those? It's tough to do. Not too many quarterbacks do it. I think he's doing it. I think they kind of relaxed him a little bit, which is focusing on making those throws. I think he's been doing a better job doing that. So credit to Zach Wilson. Say Josh. Did I already say Josh Allen? I might have said Josh Allen. Zach Wilson on improving in that category and kind of just relaxing a little bit and running the ball and running well. It almost looks like both these quarterbacks are more runners than they are passers, which is odd. But in the Jags, it's that last sequence there. They get down there. Trevor Lawrence runs to the 5-yard line. And it's just It feels like the Jags are going to win this game, and then disaster. And then just absolute disaster. Trevor Lawrence tries to throw a ball to somebody that's barely short of the goal line. Not the best idea. He throws it, I believe it was Mosley, threw it right to Mosley. He dropped it, just a horrible throw. Mosley dropped it, but the receiver caught it short of the goal line. Not ideal. They got to get to the line, but Trevor Lawrence spikes it. You do not spike the ball there. You do not spike the ball there because you turn it into you have one play left instead of two. You should just get to the line and just run your best play. Trevor Lawrence should figure that out. And then the first blame goes to, yes, the coaching staff doesn't have the team prepared in that moment. They do not have. This has been the story all year. It's been the story all year. They don't have them prepared. They got receivers running long developing routes. They're not getting separation. But then, you kind of can rip Trevor Lawrence in all those moments because he kind of needed guys wide open all year to even try to throw it or to be able to make the throw. So it felt like, and I was saying this earlier, it felt like Trevor Lawrence needs his hand held a little bit, needs to have plays schemed wide open for him. And you start to realize that was going on at Clemson. And he has all the talent in the world. He has the traits, the tools. He has it. But why does it look like he needs things schemed wide open? And that kind of goes to the same thing as the spike. Like the coaches should have him prepared in that moment, but he should just know, what goes through your mind that you go up to the ball and spike that? Why is that what first popped? The only thing that pops in your mind, would rookie Joe Burrow have spiked that ball? Absolutely not. Justin Herbert was a guy that Oregon in college, they mistakenly held that guy's hand and tried to simplify things for him. And they made him worse because of it. He goes to the NFL in his first year, and they just let him do him, and they kind of have an explosive offense, and he's even better. And he's a guy who had his hand held in the past wrongfully, and he wouldn't have spiked the ball in that moment. The guys that Trevor Lawrence we expect him to be, the guys we compare him to, Josh Allen, his first year, would he have spiked that ball? Patrick Mahomes in his first year playing, which was his second year. I don't think so. These Trevor Lawrence has those. That is not changing here. Based on Trevor Lawrence's performance this year, he has the tools, he has the traits. That is not changing. He has the talent. The problem is, is it in his head? Does he have the intangibles? Does he have the awareness of what's going on in a situation like that? It feels like, that's just the biggest job right there. The Jaguars need to find the right coach because he's going to look something if they get the right scheme in there and they scheme things open for him, because then you're going to see those flashes, those traits, those tools. But it's unfortunate that it needs to be like that. It's very much unfortunate. So the Jets end up pulling it off. Zach Wilson takes down Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, very disappointed with the Jags. The lack of effort too. They still need a whole new roster, feels like, for the most part, and a whole new staff. Giants, Eagles, not too much on this one. Early it felt like this game was going to finish 10-3 maybe. It was 3-3 forever, 3-0 with the Giants. It felt like, the Eagles are struggling. Hurts missing, not seeing guys open, missing some throws. Should it be Minshew time? And it just kind of felt like that. It might finish 10-3 or something, or 13-10 or 17-10. And then all of a sudden the Eagles figured it out. And they didn't really have much going on offense. Hurts started to pick it up, hitting some throws, seeing some guys, making some plays. Devontae Smith making some plays. They didn't have a whole lot on offense. It's just the Giants having the current worst offense in football. And, there's quarterbacks that are making Daniel Jones look like he's amazing because they just can't do anything, and that's just not the case, though. But they bench Glennon for Fromm, bench Fromm for Glennon. It's a disaster. They both stink, obviously. Eagles' defense has really picked it up in the second half of the year. Everyone's playing well against the Giants. Alex Singleton's kind of an under radar, I think, like a kind of a sleeper type underrated player. I think, making some big plays, score a touchdown, kind of all over the field for the Eagles this year. Obviously, Darius Slay's been fantastic. And they kind of just, having the ball, that often where they have it, defense making plays, they're going to win this game big. Giants, a little bit of a disaster. They're pretty depleted, but things just aren't right there. They don't have, I think they're negative cap space this upcoming year, so something's got to change there. It's tough, but much needed win for the Eagles. They get it. Big game against Washington this week. Bucks, Panthers. Yeah, the Bucs missing a lot of key guys. I mean, a lot of key guys. We learned that after last week. And then Shaq Barrett, unfortunately, goes down in this one. He's going to miss the rest of the regular season. They're hopeful he can come back in playoffs. But they still go out there and win 32-6. They get AB going. Keyshawn Vaughn had a nice big run. He ended up having more yards than Ronald Jones off way less carries, probably because of that run, but he still had that run. Ronald Jones was a factor. The Bucs defense was huge in this game. A lot of defense has been good against the Panthers offense. They're trying to mix it up with Darnold and Cam Newton. There was some plays here and there where it's like, all right, they got Darnold and he made a big play. We put Cam in the red zone. He can run. That kind of makes sense. Get one or two good plays here, but it just kind of shuts down. I think it's still bad offensive coaching as well, but they just don't have enough. Even though the receivers look pretty good on paper, they just don't have enough right now. Yeah, Bucs defense kind of feasted in this one. Vita Vea, another good game. William Golson, I think, was getting after quarterbacks pretty well. They believe, at the top of my head, 2.5 sacks. Jordan Whitehead felt like he was all over the place. He had a good game. Bucs defense feasted. Offense did their job. They played the Panthers. There were people picking the Panthers in this game because what the Bucs were missing. But, Bucs take care of business, bounce back. Chargers, Texans score 41 on the Chargers, completely outplay them. It felt like there was a lot of opportunities. It felt like, I don't know, to me it felt like this game went on forever, Plenty of opportunities for the Chargers. They had Justin Jackson going, catching the ball, running the ball. He had a fumble. I guess that was pretty costly. But they had him going. It's just, Herbert kind of getting back and maybe in that MVP, even though he wasn't going to win it. But back in that, if you were to make a rankings, kind of towards the top there, back in that somewhat in that conversation. But yeah, struggle a little bit in this one. He definitely I've been saying it since week 2 probably. They need more help at receiver. They need more help. I know Mike Williams is out in this one. Guyton was out, but there's been drop problems even when those guys been in. Even Keenan Allen's been dropping the ball. This should be a big game for Keenan Allen. Playing against the Texans secondary. Just get separation. Herbert should be looking at you a lot. He just wasn't doing his normal thing. I just don't think he's been as good as, and he's still good, but I don't think he's been as good as what he can be this year. I think they need that guy, that consistent receiver in there. That's what they need. They need something like that to help Justin Herbert out. But, yeah, Herbert didn't play a good game. Did not play a good game. I know they're missing guys too, but, it's the Texans. You can't let the Texans score 41 points. Chargers still can't stop the run. They still can't stop guys in space. Angles are pretty bad. Tackling's not too hot. Just super inconsistent. It's just like there's weeks where they look so damn dangerous, so damn good. Even in the Chiefs game, it's like one side of it's like, how do you lose that game? That's bad, but man, they look so dangerous at the same time. And in games they go and win, but then they go and they lose to the Broncos, that shit show of a game, and all of a sudden they lose to the Texans. They give up 41 points here. It's just Herbert plays a sloppy game. Receivers aren't helping him out. It's just not good. They're just too inconsistent right now. Just trying to figure out what the problem is exactly and how to stop this going forward. Because some of these teams just kind of stay this way. They stay this way. And Herbert's going to get better. But, it's just not good. Texans, pretty damn impressive. I like that the players are playing hard still. They're playing tough. You see a team like the Jaguars just kind of giving up. They're playing tough. They got some high motor guys on the team. Davis Mills looks pretty good. He's been looking pretty good. He's played like the second best rookie quarterback this year. Just if we're going to base things off recently, he's probably been the best one. Does that mean that's where he'll be long term? No, but he looks pretty good. They probably won't draft a quarterback. They'll probably stick with Davis Mills. And, hey, I think we'll be okay with that here. They've got to build the rest of it here. And it's a team like the Texans going into the season. It's like a new staff and everything, and they're trading guys or getting guys on 1-year deals just to fill roster spots now and maybe get compensatory picks in the future. You kind of got the feeling, the atmosphere there that they know their position. Like, hey, they're not tanking on purpose, but they're accepting it. That's kind of what it felt like from the front office and the coaching staff. And Davis Mills got to deal with that, and he goes out and balls. So that's pretty impressive there. Man, super disappointed with the Chargers there. It's did they just take themselves out of the playoffs? Is that what just happened there? And a lot of these teams that get cold at the wrong time, but the Chargers are they cold? No, they're just really inconsistent. They lost 2 in a row. I guess that's cold, but maybe that sucked the life out of them. Having guys be out, go on their reserve list, and then they should have won the Chiefs game and kind of just blew it. Maybe that sucked the life out of them here and going in a game like this. Bears, Seahawks, Nick Foles does it. Nick Foles clutches it. The wild thing about this game, let me pull out the exact numbers. This is the wild thing about this game. The Bears couldn't run the ball in this game. I want to see the exact numbers. They averaged somewhere in the ballpark of 2. David Montgomery, very solid running back for them, 21 for 45. He averaged 2.1 yards per carry. 2.1 yards. The team averaged 2.9 yards per carry. Khalil Herbert did have a nice run, I remember. But the Bears couldn't run the ball. They averaged 2.9 yards per carry. You would think that they got their ass beat. They couldn't score. The quarterback had to go do it himself, with his weapons too, give his weapons credit, but there is no way in hell Andy Dalton's winning this game. There is no way in hell Justin Fields winning this game. Nick Foles has to go out and do it. He had himself a hell of a game. Clutch game down the stretch, making big-time throws. He's just smart. He's just a smart quarterback. You could see that. He knows where the ball needs to go. He knows when the ball needs to be thrown away, where it needs to be thrown away to. Sometimes just putting the ball where only his receiver has a chance to get it, even if it's incomplete. That clutch. Jimmy Graham, beast catch there at the end, where the ball needed to be, the 2-point conversion. Why not go for it? Just go for it. You're where your season's at. And it's a hell of a catch by Bird. Went up and got it. Somehow got the feet down. 3 Seahawks trying to drag him out of the end zone. I don't know how they did not push him out the end zone. That is exactly where that ball needs to be. Some people don't understand. That is exactly where the height, exactly where it needs to be. If no one's open, there's so many quarterbacks that, no one's open, let me do something stupid. I've even seen quarterbacks be considered good, even almost give nobody a shot on that play to basically throw the ball away on a 2-point conversion or a 4th down play. It's a hell of a play by Nick Foles. And then defense just shuts it down there, locks it down on that last drive. I thought that maybe the Seahawks would go get a field goal attempt. Russell Wilson just did not have a good year. I think the Bears, it sounded like they were trying to trade for him. They made an enticing offer for Russell Wilson. Nick Foles completely outplayed him. And you can't really sit here in the Seahawks, well, Russell Wilson has it worse. I don't know if you could say that, Bears couldn't even run the ball in this game. So, that was clutch. It felt like at one point, hey, they're sticking in this game. Then it felt like, they're trying to play keep up. They're never going to actually keep up and take this game. And they did it. They clutched up at the end. Seahawks offense just shuts down too much. But Nick Foles, it's a heck of a game. It just shows he's right now this year. He's the 3rd string, but he's the best quarterback on that roster right now. Fields, a lot of potential. I felt like he was playing worse though. It's probably something with that offense, with the coaching maybe, because I felt like he was better right when they threw him in. Maybe got to be a little more careful with the ball too, turning it over too much. Not worried about interceptions, anything like that. Worried about the ball security and the fumbles a little bit, but yeah, Fields has all the upside in the world. But I thought it's pretty clear that Nick Foles is the best quarterback on that roster. It's because he's smart. He's very smart. Wasn't a Super Bowl MVP quarterback for nothing. Not that he has that talent still, but heck of a game for him there. Kind of had to, and again, playmakers made plays, but it kind of felt like Nick Foles just had to go out and do it. Like I had to go out and do. I wonder how much he controlled over Nagy, Laser. How much he just all right, I'm going to change this play. I'm going to check to this. I see something. I'm going to adjust. I'm just going to do me because whatever. They put me at 3rd string to start the year. I'm smart. I think I'm smarter than the staff. I think he's right. If he thinks that, I'm sure he thinks that. So I like it. I like it from Nick Foles there. Steelers-Chiefs. Just a bad matchup. We talked about it. The matchup was really bad for the Steelers, but the Steelers were supposed to be closer in this game, have a shot because what was missing for the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill did end up playing, but yeah, Steelers is not even close this one. They even scored a touchdown late, so it was even a bigger win. Steelers defense just not the same as what they used to be, not even close. And we know the Chiefs offense is explosive, so the Chiefs offense are going to give them problems. And then the question would be for it to not to be too much of a matchup night, whereas if the Steelers can score, keep points going on the Chiefs, and we knew that probably wasn't the case. I think they could score more than that, but it's just the Chiefs brought the blitz. They got good pressure. They played real tight man coverage. Some similarities with the Vikings did in the first half against Steelers a couple weeks ago when it was a disaster. And the Chiefs did that. And the game wasn't even close really. So good game for Mahomes. They got to pull him early. Edwards-Helaire, monitor that injury. That's tough. He had a real beast mode run, a beast run early for a touchdown. But everything was working for them. Just not much going here. Steelers just. I'm honestly surprised the amount of wins they have. They really clutched out on some of those wins, I guess, at the end. Titans, Ravens game, I think the Browns game. I don't feel like they're. I'm surprised at the amount of wins. Not that they have a lot of wins, but it's just not good this year. It's a tough one here. And they'll have a big game against the Browns. I think that's Monday night coming up. But good win for the Chiefs. They keep rolling at the right time. They're hot at the right time. Broncos, Raiders. Credit to the Raiders' run defense in this one. If the Broncos were going to win this, I'm surprised it was even this close. Because if you had told me, I picked the Raiders, but I said I could see the Broncos winning because I could see them running the ball very effectively because teams have been running well in the Raiders and the Broncos could run the ball effectively. I would say that would be the why the Broncos could win. But if you had told me that the Broncos, and we could see the exact numbers, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good for the Broncos. I don't know if they were able to run the ball as much as they wanted to. They weren't able to run they didn't able to run as many plays as they wanted to. I mean, Locke threw the ball 22 times. They only ran the ball 16 times on top of it. Just not enough plays. 1.1 yards per carry rushing for the Broncos. If you would have told me that was going to happen, I would have told you they got their ass beat. But they stuck in it. So the Raiders should be able to put teams away. Offense should be able to put teams away. Clutch at the end. Good throw from Derek Carr to seal the game. Yeah. Credit to the Raiders stopping the run. Like I said, I mean, to hold them to 1.1, that's tough to do. But it kind of goes back on Drew Lock. And why that's on Drew Lock, I mean, he's 15 for 22, 153. So 0 interceptions. So what you could say about that performance, he didn't play that bad. He didn't throw that many incompletions, but he didn't do enough. My takeaway is the run game really didn't work because the Raiders played well defensively, but probably because of Drew Lock. So what the Raiders said is, we're going to make Drew Lock beat us. We're going to stack the box. We're going to stop. We're going to play run. We're going to play the run. That's what they did, and Drew Lock really couldn't do enough to beat them. But how did they not run time possession? I guess the Broncos got killed in time possession, 36 minutes to 23. Put that on the play calling, just a lack of execution. Yeah, if Teddy would have played in this game, I'd like to think that the Broncos probably win this game, actually. That's why I said I would have predicted the Broncos if Teddy was playing. So that's tough there. Not enough time of possession, not enough runs, not good enough running. Probably tough on the play calls then if we're getting 1 yard a carry. I don't know if we can run the ball here. But we can't put the game and we're in this game. We're winning for a portion. And when we're losing, it's close. We can't put this game totally in Drew Lock's hand to throw it. Yeah, the play caller's in a tough situation in that game. That's a pretty tough situation to be in. Raiders clutch up. I thought Josh Jacobs was running very physical. I thought he was running well, breaking a lot of tackles. What he run for 129. Derek Carr clutched up when he needed to. Not a whole lot in passing. That probably was the game plan, though. We don't need to throw the ball 50 times, 40 times in this game. So, hey, just go and get the job done. Bradley Chubb had a big time playing this game. I thought that was impressive. Raiders go get it done. It is unfortunate. They needed to clutch up at the end to be able to do it, like you should be. But they go out and win the game. Yeah. Sunday Night Football, 56 points for the Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboys are dangerous at the right time of the year. The defense is freaking nasty. Offense is dangerous. They got so many different ways to beat you. It's just sometimes they go a little cold, the offense. Sometimes. And I know some people are probably a little in the back of their minds like, can I trust this Cowboy? It's Cowboys defense. It's not just a great defense. It's the Cowboys defense that is playing great. Are they still going to be great in the playoffs? I don't see why not. They're going to play better competition. But I know some people are thinking that way. So will this team stay consistent? Will they stay healthy in the playoffs? That is the question. But it feels like a potential Super Bowl team here. The best part of the defense is they're a playmaking defense that gets tons and tons of pressure. That sure sounds like a defense that got hot at the right time last year and kind of felt like the best defense when it was all said and done. It was your Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of feels a little bit like that. They run a different scheme, so I'm not comparing like that. But, I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence, a playmaker that gets pressure. Micah Parsons, obviously, from different ways, whether it's a blitz or edge rush. Randy Gregory is a playmaking edge rusher, and they got playmakers in the back end led by Javon Diggs. Like, they have the formula there. It's really tough to game plan for, and it's an example. Washington kind of stuck with them a couple weeks ago. They play them again. You just don't know what to do with this defense, and the defense is able to adjust. Like, we know what this offense is. They're not going to be able to change much. We know what it is, and the offense is still trying to figure out who we just played a few weeks ago, trying to adjust for this defense. You can't really do it. I talked about it when going in this game. I talked kind of in the preview of my preview of this game. It's like the first time around, Washington wasn't really able to play their game, which is get the ball to Gibson a lot, pound the ball underneath, small ball, run the clock, win the time possession. That's their game. They weren't able to do that because the Cowboys defense was feasting, taking the ball away, scoring on defense. They got a good lead. They weren't able to do that. So maybe this time they'll be able to do that. Nope, same thing. Defense feasting, offense taking advantage, scoring points when they need to. And they had 21 points like instantly. So Washington wasn't able to play their game. It's just what it is in this matchup apparently. Heineke, pretty bad. He's got a flashy style of a game, but once you game plan for those types of guys, not good. Their game was taken away from them, turned the ball over. Cowboys defense was too good, just too much on offense. It's just they weren't even close. And then you got key guys, Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne fighting on the sideline, just awful situations. So life kind of sucked out of the Washington football team. Not looking good right now. They were heating up for a little bit. It's just not good. Cowboys, hot at the right time, playing some elite football in some categories at the right time. I'm hyped about the Cowboys there. That wraps up the Week 16 recap. Really wanted to make this shorter, but I talked for 45 minutes still. It's okay. Always got some points, always got some rants, but that's going to do it. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Much, much, much appreciated. Follow our Twitter link down below for that. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.